Well, this Cleopatra thing's all gotten bent up, and here we go. Remember a couple of videos I started telling you that I'd seen some Egyptians speaking out about it, sometimes in shorts, other ones making whole little videos about it. Some of them have a little bit too much of an accent flair to try to present to you. But I saw this girl as one of them, and I clicked on it. Her name is It's Nori, Noury. And in that process, I said, you know, she's kind of a gorgeous girl, and kind of ironically, she looks a little bit like one of those recreations that we just went with, but maybe perhaps a hair more ethnic. And so that's almost something that could be shown there too as a concept. But what she's going to tell you now, she's already done about 6 or 8 videos here, or probably more. I haven't gone to her channel and seen even how much there are, but I've seen a few by her. And she finally got to the point now of why is this all happening? And then there's something incredibly shown, which kind of puts a full circle on situations here with me as the example that she'll use to show you what she's saying. Because she gets somebody that's an Afrocentric who has come full circle and is now trying to teach black people to not act like this and try to steal other people's history. So why is it that they do these things? I'm going to listen to her here.
Themselves the most. They can't come to terms with their own history and where they come from, so they have to make up this whole Afrocentric ideology as like a coping mechanism, coping by hurting other people, by appropriating other people's cultures and stealing from other people's.
So she's telling you it's a coping mechanism, but then what does she use to explain it? And they've even taken the video and then wrote here in the modern Egyptian script to show it in both ways for people to understand. Now, to keep from getting a flag or something, she flipped it around backwards, and when he shows the book, it's backwards. But do you notice? This is Chief X on his debunk channel, and she got a hold of that. And you probably don't want somebody to get a hold of the stuff that he says on the debunk channel and proves everything and have that in the Egyptians' hands to actually realize the scope of the bullshit that goes on in America and what black people are saying about this, because they're pissed off enough that they think that a black comedian, tried to pull it off recently, and then there's this thing, and then here goes this. Well, it's not that. You wouldn't believe how much claiming of Egypt or any place else other than themselves they try to claim. So let's listen to Chief and what he goes with, because he's reading out of this book, which explains it from a psychology point of view. Kind of like a cargo cult mentality, if you will. Here we go.
They have produced is a therapeutic mythology designed to restore the self-esteem of black Americans by creating a past that never was.
So it's designed to try to restore your self-esteem because you have an inferiority complex. And the problem is that you somehow feel like you're in competition with the Caucasian heralds of civilization, these people that are the spaceman, the most advanced people on the planet, taking us to next new level. Always, everything around you is built from them, and actually it comes from a long line through the Egyptians and so on, of all these things accumulating over time and getting perfected and better and variations on a theme. West Sub-Saharans actually didn't even know Egypt existed. But worse than that, now they've taken to an idea of claiming anybody that they think that they can instead of themselves, because they're running away from themselves in an attempt to make a lie. And if they could ever get anybody to agree upon one of these lies, they're going to claim that they all didn't come from the slave trade that we all know of, the Ivory Coast and everything else. They're going to latch on and say, well, we was this. This is who we are, as some kind of false identity. So what's Chief going to tell black people and the reality of the situation?
You niggas never was ancient Egyptians. You niggas never were the ancient Egyptians. You weren't the Native Americans. You're not the Moors. You're not none of that shit. You're a tropical African. You're a sub-Saharan African.
From far west Central Africa, below the Sahara, in that Congo jungle that still exists today, and you didn't come even venturing out of it or anything because that area was full of savanna lions and other things. There is no proof that black people ever went, of that area ever went anywhere. And you'll hear them constantly claim, Ethiopians. And it's like, you're not related to those people and didn't know they existed either. Please stop. Or they point at Horners and start talking about that because they try to say those are the ancient Egyptians or whatever else. And then we see that little third thing there that can't equate. There was some black people somewhere that did something, and therefore we, as far west sub-Saharans, get to claim that we were that and not actually the reality of who we were. It's really self-exposing any moment they try to do it. Chief has gone out of his way here in America to try to explain it, and all they do is try to write him off as being an Uncle Tom or somebody that all of a sudden used to know everything, but now he don't know nothing, or whatever they can do to try to shun him off. They sure aren't allowing him to come on and debate them in any way. That's a nightmare.
That's it. Be happy with that. And start teaching your own people's history and culture. Leave these other people's history alone. I'm sick of...
Yep, he's sick of it, and he's been sick of it for years. I was really just not paying attention to it at all till they got in my channel and started following me around. Next thing you know, I started going back to my normal deal after I debunked what they said. I went back to my normal deal, and I'm showing videos of people in the Levant and way up in Anatolia and so on, and they were stuck. They were mad. They were stuck. They kept going, and they're black too, and they're black too, and they're black too, and just kept exposing through the whole thing. And then they thought they'd give me a list of 38 things that I had to prove. Otherwise, West Sub-Saharans are somehow the Egyptians, the Moors, and everybody they say. So I made like 3 videos, and inside those 3 videos is information that makes every other concept null and void, and it doesn't even have to be 38. Most of them caught out, but other ones came on and thought they could deflect or do something just silly and foolish, and believe me, it got worse when we started talking about Asselar, man, and how old the black race is. Because they started that one too. They jumped on, we were here before anybody, and we taught you how to bathe, and all this stuff, and it's disgusting. It's really self-exposing. But here's a girl, I'm just going to believe that she may have something to do with the Coptics, again, along with that Egyptian comedian that we looked at, Bassam Youssef, who shows blue eyes and real conspicuously looks a whole lot like Nefer, an ancient Egyptian high-level scribe with crystal blue eyes and a phenotype that looks just like himself. But lo and behold, that's from thousands of years ago. In fact, in the earliest of dynasties, leading right through the pyramid building and everything. And since everybody could do very simple things and find all this information, you wonder how it is that they even try to act like that. It's like somebody's given them a few pictures and then they can't look at any of the other ones. No, anybody that tries to look into it at all sees that it just falls on their face, and they still keep repeating it. It's past pathetic, but they don't care. And I'm hoping this new Cleopatra thing that's got the Egyptians filing a lawsuit versus the people, and also it's not even allowed for Netflix show to be shown at this point. And I believe they're in a lawsuit to try to just turn around, and not even a lawsuit, just turn around and go, nah, and have Netflix turned off, not in just Egypt, but the whole MENA region. Yeah, which is the Mediterranean, North Africans there, Egyptians, because it's a Mediterranean civilization. And the people of West Sub-Sahara didn't even know Egypt existed. So when you start figuring out these things, and the fact they're not related to anybody even that even knew Egypt existed, including the Nubians and Nilotics that showed up late and weren't even allowed into Egypt, it starts to get a real confusing thing where you look at it and you go, how in the world are they trying to pull this off? And they don't care. They really don't. So one wonders if it's going to be able to even stop now that it's been turned into a radical joke the whole world knows, and Egypt doesn't even want them showing up and stuff. Kevin Hart was going to have a concert there, whatever, in Cairo, and he mouthed off and said something that blacks were the ancient Egyptians, and they just canceled his show and gave him his money back, and they go, don't even come to Egypt. Oh, and it could get worse if you want to play some little game, and believe you me, blacks are real eager to try to play some little game and front up like they're tough. So who knows where this is going to go, but at least we finally have an open conversation starting about it. And let me tell you, she's not the only one. I've seen 6 or 8, if not 10, Egyptians putting out little videos like this, and some of them putting out long-term videos too about the situation. I think it's just hilarious that this girl ended up finding something out about it and then verifying and wanting to tell you that they actually hate themselves and that it's a coping mechanism for the reality of who they really were, and they don't like that because they feel like they're in competition with white people, spaceman, and somehow they've got to puff up and lie about everything to make themselves feel less inferior, if you will, I guess. And so now there's just this false puffing up and silly shit, and it's like the joke of humanity, and it has been for a long time. But now that it gets coughed out and somebody threw that stuff up right in front of everybody, and everybody's like, it's a train wreck, but maybe it'll get a little more light on the idea. Got to try to tell Chief X that he's famous in Egypt. Yeah. Now wait to see if that passes around to each other, and then they all get full of Chief X's knowledge that he puts out about how they aren't the Egyptians and who's this, that. It's a Mediterranean civilization. And you probably have these people making videos go, yes, I agree. Yes, we're Mediterranean. Yes, no, West Sub-Saharans didn't even know we existed. No, and carry it on from there. Just be one more piece to the puzzle that's driving this bullshit into the ground, which I, again, will say is going to be a joke for generations after generations. And they'll have to try to make up something like, it's racist if you say about the silly thing that we were doing that was racist. Which should never be in effect either. Just like comedy should never be attacked like what it is currently. Anyhow, that's a totally different subject. It's Nori, and she's letting you know, psychologically, the way this broke down, Chief X is the verifier. Peace.